Hello out there, it's day 3. That's right, day 3. So we're looking at 3-finger chords today. So a couple of 3-finger chords that I think are kind of the first ones you should start looking at when you're playing ukulele are E minor and G7. So let's take a look at those chords, and then I'm going to show you guys a few progressions, and then we're just going to do some jamming, per the usual. The first chord I want to show you is the E minor chord. So I'm going to give you a little trick in a minute here, but first I just want to show you how to play this one. And before that, I forgot, just make sure you're in tune. Cool. All right. The E minor chord. So the E minor chord, we play index finger, 2nd fret, A string, middle finger on the E string on the 3rd fret, and then we complete this little staircase here, and we put the ring finger on the 4th fret on the C string. So when you strum that, it should sound like this. Pro tip, make sure you are on your fingertips. You really want to make sure you're on your fingertips. If your fingers are laying down, you're going to get dead notes. So make sure you're on your fingertips. And then the little trick, as I promised you. So remember that C chord that we did? So you can play C chord with your ring finger, but you could also play it, since it's a 1-finger chord, with your middle finger. So you can just put your middle finger down here on the 3rd fret, and here is the trick, secret. Put your index finger down behind it. It's not going to make a sound because you're fretting in front of it, but what this is going to do is help you switch from C to E minor. So just take a second and practice that, because that's a very common chord sequence you're going to come across. So just from C with your middle finger up here to E minor. So when we start doing the play along here in a minute, I want you to try that. Just use your rotation here with your hand to get back and forth with those chords. Here we go. Let's check out a little progression. We're going to go back and forth from C to E minor so you can work on your first 3-finger chord. We talked about a strum pattern before, down, up, clap. So we're going to keep using that one because I really want that to be part of your strumming palette. Strumming palette. Yeah, that's a thing, I guess. So here we are sitting on the C chord with our middle finger and index, and we're going to move to the E minor. So let's do this 4 times with a down, up, clap on each chord. Here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Switch to E minor. 2, 3, 4. Nice and easy. C. Now keep your ring finger hovering here. I didn't do a good job of that last time. 4. Now E minor. 2. Keep your eyes on your left hand. It's going to help you control your fingers. Back to the C. 2, 3, 4. And back to the E minor. 2, 3, and 4. Good. So that's a little start there. Your first 3-finger chord. I think E minor kind of is the first 3-finger chord you should take a look at. So just remember, it's that little staircase and that little trick here. All right, so before we get into strumming, I always like to do a exercise where we just kind of do a 4 count of rest, and that really allows you to focus on your left hand. Kind of eliminates this and having to kind of do this thing that I can't do. So this gives you a little chance to do that. So we're going to do a 4 count of rest with just one single strum on C, E minor, F, and C. So here we go, starting on the C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strum. 2, 3, 4. E minor. 2, 3, 4. F. 2, 3, 4. And C. 2, 3, 4. One more time. 2, 3, 4. E minor. 2, 3, 4. And F. 2, 3, 4. And on C. 2, 3, 4. Cool. We're going to do a full progression now using the E minor chord and the down-up clap strum. So for you fans of Somewhere Over the Rainbow, this is a great little switch to learn because it's going to help you play that song. It's going to utilize the C, E minor, F, and then we return back to the C. So we're using a 1 finger, a 2 finger, and a 3 finger chord now because it's day 3, and that's what we got to do. So let's take a look at that. And as always, if you need to pause, spend a little time just working on your left hand here, going back and forth between C and E minor, feel free. There's no rush, and this doesn't have to be, you know, every day you have to kind of plow through all these things. Take some time. It's not a race. It's more about precision and clarity and clean notes, and you want to make sure all of that's happening before you rush just because your mind is telling you, hey, I should be doing this by now. Don't worry about that. It's not a race. So here we go. C, E minor, F, C. 4 strums on each one. Take a little breath, get ready, relax. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, clap. 2, 3, 4. Switch to E minor. 2, 3, 4. Now switch to F. 2, 3, 4. Now you're going back to C. 2, 3, 4. Now we're staying on C. I did a little switch there. I moved my middle finger back. 4, going to E minor. 2, 3, 4. Now F. 2, 3, 4. Now back to C. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so the next chord that we're going to take a look at is G7. Another 3-finger chord because it's day 3. So to play G7, here's the little trick I like to kind of use to get there. So I'm playing a C chord here with my ring finger for this situation. So what I do is I slide my ring finger back to the 2nd fret. I take my middle finger, put it on the C string on the 2nd fret as well, and my index finger I place here on the 1st fret on the E string. And now this one, you really want to make sure that you're on your fingertips. As always, that's a great rule of thumb. And I'll also mention you want to take this chord and kind of twist it so that your hand is almost next to the headstock here. Your finger's kind of in this slot to give your fingers the spacing. So work on this G chord on your own. Spend a little time with it if you haven't had any experience with it yet. Just kind of make sure that it's sounding nice, clean, and clear. Every note is ringing out equally. So the G7 is cool because now we are able to complete the Hawaiian progression. The Hawaiian progression goes like this. C, A minor, F, and then watch this. I'm going to use my index finger to pivot down here to G7. Anytime you can use a share finger, it's cool. So we're going to go through that with a 4 count of rest in between. So I want your focus here to be with your eyes on your left hand as we do this. You're going to have plenty of time to get there, so make sure you utilize that 4 count of rest to jump to your next chord. So here we go, starting with the C. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 2, 3, 4. A minor, 2, 3, 4. F, 2, 3, 4. G7, 2, 3, 4. And C, 2, 3, 4. A minor, 2, 3, 4. You're doing great. F, 2, 3, 4. Last one. 2, 3, 4. Cool. So if you need to pause and just work on that with the 4 count a few times, feel free to do so. I always like to make sure that, one hand is already working properly before I kind of throw the other hand into the equation. Because sometimes once you start strumming, you're thinking about too much. I've noticed this as I'm trying to learn piano right now. If I try to start coordinating my hands, things start falling apart. So don't worry about speed. Separation of the hands is okay at first to really, hyper focus on one element before you move on. So just a little bit of advice there. But more importantly, let's play this now. So we're going to still use the down, up, clap strum. And we're going to do that 4 times on each chord. So you'll be able to play this beautiful Hawaiian progression with a lot of different strumming patterns later. But for now, we're just going to keep it simple. So take a breath, relax, and let's do it here. We're in the home stretch. Here we go. Starting on C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Clap. 2, 3, 4. Switch to A minor. 2, 3, 4. Switch to F. Bob your head a little bit if you need to. G7, 2, 3, 4. My eyes are on my left hand. 2, 3, 4. I'm hovering. Here I go to A minor. 2, 3, 4. Switching to F. 2, 3. Keep smiling. Now G7. 2, 3, 4. We got 2 more times. Keep up the endurance. 3, 4. A minor. For you singers out there, if you want to hum along. And F. 2, 3, 4. Switch to G7. 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Last time, guys. Make it the best one. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Switch to A minor. 2, 3, 4. F. 2, 3, 4. Last one to the G7. 2, 3, 4, and end on C. All right, so we took a look at 3-finger chords today. If you need to spend some time with this, it's challenging to get the 3-finger chords. I know, sometimes it can be. Spend a little time with it. Don't move on until you're ready, but, sometimes it's okay to spend a little time working on specific situations. So we took a look at the E minor chord, the G7 chord. If you guys have any questions about those chords, anything you're running into as you're playing them, leave them in the comments below. I'll get back to you. We'll chat about the uke. I also have a lesson sheet put together for this with some of these exercises that we did at allforuke.com. You can download the free PDF. And what else was I supposed to say? Last but not least, subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel, how are you going to know when these videos come out? So, day 4 and 5 are coming at you next. Have fun with day 3. See you next time. Thanks so much for watching. You're playing ukulele. See you guys.